You're fine.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. This is Philip _ with the Budpass Podcast, powered by SimploPro. Super excited to have you here. And also just as excited to have our guest on. I have Margo Vesely, who is the Executive Director for NORML, Illinois. And for those that aren't aware, NORML stands for the National Organization of Reform for Marijuana Law. So super excited to have you here, Margo. How are you today?
I'm doing so fabulous. Thank you so much for having me here, Philip.
Thank you so much for being on. We're excited to talk to you. And given that we have kind of explored different areas within the cannabis industry, we've talked to a couple of colleges that are now instituting programs. We talked to individuals who are bud tenders, people who are working within the industry. But this gives us an opportunity to explore more so about the legal advocacy side. And really without that, we wouldn't really have much of an industry at all. So I appreciate you as well as NORML as an organization throughout the US doing the hard work, getting in front of the legislatures, getting the word out there, and also helping to change a lot of the laws that have been in place that have been very restrictive when it comes to cannabis law. So again, thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip. So yeah, as the executive director here at Illinois NORML, Illinois NORML is a 501c4 registered organization. What that means is that we are allowed to go lobby with the state in whatever legislation that we are passionate about. And as we can see, NORML has done a fabulous job here in the state of Illinois, pushing for first medical and then recreational. And some may say, what are you doing now then? I am the new executive director as of the beginning of 2020, right before this mess happened. So it's been an interesting challenge to see what we can do, especially with our state legislation being very overcrowded and having limited time that they offer, with work that they're doing. So in the meantime, I figured that this is an opportunity for us to be able to educate the public on their cannabis consumer rights. So that is what we're doing right now.
Wonderful. And congrats for you being in this position. Can you maybe share a little bit more about your background and also kind of what your day-to-day is as executive director?
Sure. So my background, I started out at going to school at UIC, and I studied political science. My initial dream was to become an attorney, but I changed my mind coming towards the end when I graduated. And therefore, I started working on some campaigns, some state political campaigns. Anytime I had the opportunity to be with a candidate and I had their ear, I'd bring up any kind of cannabis resources that could sway them to be more in favor. And as this legal market started opening up in 2017 here in Illinois, one of my state senators was suggesting to me, hey, why don't you go and try to see if you can, make a break into it. So at the time too, I had a little side hobby where I would make gummies, and he just, thought that would be a perfect pairing for me to go and try to pursue my edible dream. And it wasn't as easy as I thought, and I'm sure a lot of people out there can resonate with this. I applied to a few different MSOs, and I didn't get a response for almost up to 3 months. And I was really just feeling really distraught, not thinking that I was going to have a chance to get in. And someone suggested to me, hey, why don't you go onto LinkedIn, find some people that work there, reach out to them. So that's just what I did. Did not get a response there either. But what did happen was that I got a call for an interview. So something worked. And from there, I was brought in at the lowest part of the totem pole as an independent contractor, just putting labels onto packaging. And I worked my butt off to prove my work efficacy. And they started taking notice. And within a month, they pushed me into trimming. And I think it was about a week or two that I was there, and they loved my work. They're like, hey, we'll give you a full-time position if you want it. So I instantly said, if there's ever, edibles department openings, I will be happy to apply for that. And they said, well, hey, we'll test you out now. And they loved me there too. So I became under the Mindy Siegel's umbrella, the Mindy's Kitchen Edible Department under Cresco in 2017.
Wow, that's huge. And it just kind of shows the level of tenacity, and really for anyone that wants to break in, just not to give up and really to kind of find your lane. And really, even as you got into the industry, you just spoke up and talked about what you wanted and really what you want to set your sights upon, and you just moved up from there. That's incredible.
Yeah, you definitely have to be bold and creative. And one thing that I, took away from this is that you have to get good at a craft. Get specific, creativity. Get specific on something that you are already doing in your everyday life, and adopt it and really get good at it, hone in on it, and then, apply that to the cannabis industry any way that you can.
That's very solid advice. And certainly, I know that that's something that you're applying as executive director for Illinois NORML as well. Kind of shifting into that area, I kind of know the answer here, but where would the cannabis industry be without advocacy for legal change?
Oh my gosh, I mean, just look at the laws and what has changed already. So if you look at it, we would be getting more and more arrests. I mean, arrests are still happening, but they're not at the scale as they were once before. That's why NORML is continuing this education so that everyone knows their cannabis consumer rights. And besides that, you'd still have the raids going on and high crime rates. And gosh, it would be just, I don't think that we would have this basic knowledge of the benefits here already right now if we didn't have this legal change in advocacy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think people think that even though as a country things are shifting kind of towards hopefully a full legalization, within this presidential term, I think people often forget all of the years and years of hard work and advocacy that have taken to get a state like Illinois here a year with full legalization. So certainly, again, wanted to recognize the efforts that your organization does in terms of helping to turn the tide.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And NORML's been focused mostly on these legalizations or changes within legislation. But now it's the question of, now we're getting there. Where do we go from here?
Right.
So putting that together.
Wonderful, wonderful. When it comes to kind of next steps, I guess that is the question, kind of what is going to be the next kind of area to kind of champion, hopefully once legalization happens on a federal level.
Yeah, so the conversation right now with national is still on these legalization efforts, and there's still states that are within our United States that aren't even close to where we are right now. So they are still funneling their efforts with that. But the one thing that me and some other leaders were bringing up was that, where do we stand with the business segment of this industry? Right now, it's been focused mostly on the medical side. And what we've all feared is pharmaceutical taking over this industry. So now we're fighting for the small businesses to be able to have an opportunity within this industry. And that means that legacy market can still funnel into this industry too. So that's what we're fighting for right now.
Understood. And for those that may want to, that are just as passionate, that want to learn how to get involved, what would be some recommendations there?
As to getting involved, I mean, right now there's just opportunities as data entry, all the fun stuff, community outreach and fundraising. And that's what we're specifically looking for, even content development. Oh, I can't forget that. So I thought there would be a creative way of incorporating more and more people that, there's influencers out there that are making really great content, and we could promote them through our channels and then give them even more wider audiences to be seen too, to whatever they're building out there. So, there's that. And if you are interested in sharing some of this support, reach out to me at margo@illinoisnormal.org. And that's fully spelled Illinois, ILLINOISNORML.org.
I'll make sure we include that in the link. So for anyone that's
Perfect.
watching, you can definitely click below and be able to get there. It's the braces. I sometimes can't talk. So, but no,
I don't have braces and I get tongue twisted too, so don't worry about it. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. I think just as important to continue the fight, getting people involved and getting the fundraising, getting the advocacy, getting the support is going to be super duper important. So again, for anyone out there, we'll put that information. And I know that NORML has different chapters in various states. Has there or are there times that the different chapters work together on certain issues?
That is what we're trying to push for more now. As it seems from the past, because I'm new here, the national side would organize all the chapters to come to them, and every Tuesday and Thursday they have a national conference call, and any kind of way that we can collaborate, they try to do their best with that in those efforts. But there has been leadership change within National NORML itself. So they are taking on that initiative to make there more of a business sector carved out of this. And one other chapter leader from Arizona reached out to me because he hears me trying to push for these educational events so that we can inform the consumers again. But he came to me and he's like, why can't we support each other? Is there anything that I could take off of your hands and, we could collaborate and be able to take the time and efforts, because it's a lot of work. It's so much work to run these chapters. So thankfully, to Ryan's regard, he's been kind of bringing in some other chapter leaders that feel the same way, that we can find where we can all fit in this place. We're still working on this. It's a challenge because, for years, this organization's been around since the 70s, and it's been run by a lot of just disorganized people, I want to say. And it's going to take some time to figure out this organization and, where everyone plays, and just making this an actual compliant organization within each other. That's going to be taking some time too as well.
Understood. Well, at least you all can get together, at least state by state, and be able to, build those partnerships. And it's great that you're helping to kind of reestablish or reinvent culture within the organization as well.
Yes, that's exactly what's happening right now.
I wanted to ask, especially since we're kind of, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, we're post-legalization within the state of Illinois. In your opinion, or within your organization's kind of view, what's the biggest hurdle that Illinois is facing post-legalization regarding the cannabis industry, in your opinion?
This is my passion right now, my heart. It's the quality of the product. Knowing exactly what's inside that product is actually safe for consumption. And right now, I feel like the industry is pushing for more quantity because the demand is so high. And I don't know if you've been through a dispensary, but 2 years ago, I'm a medical patient. So 2 years ago, I had a variety of products that I could choose from. Now I go in there and it's like I have to really fight for a certain product to be able to be available at my dispensary. And then I get it and I'm just like, oh, I don't know if it's as clean as they say it is. So I'm just, that's the biggest hurdle that we're going to be coming across right now. And we're providing educational opportunities free to the public with the COA Consumer Safety Forum that we're going to be doing every other month with farmers and then consumers. And by empowering the people, they know their consumer rights, what they should be demanding for and looking out for. And that will help move that cause even further.
Yes. I really, really appreciate the level of education and self-empowerment that your organization is doing. Even on your website, you have a section where individuals can learn about pending marijuana legalization in their state, no matter if they're fully legalized or not. And so I think it's just great to have that information on hand. You talked about being able to know your own consumer rights, getting into quality of product, accessibility, all of that. Can you just share why it's so important to be informed about some of these state laws and certainly your own rights as well as an individual?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, that is how things change, is when you empower the people and they start demanding it and calling their legislators. I know a lot of naysayers out there think that, you know, my voice doesn't mean anything. But I've worked on the state side, and every time we had a call, we'd have to record it, and then that recording went to the candidate, and then if they're official candidates within the state, they have to move upon what their constituents are demanding for. So by educating and empowering people with the knowledge of this kind of information, then they will be going after it, and then even, you know, we'll be pushing for legislative policy or legislative lobbying pushes eventually too, that this is going to push it even further. So it's highly important to be knowledgeable on all this information.
Yes, I can probably just attest just the importance of, even as an individual, if you're not necessarily politically affiliated, that's fine, but just being passionate and getting involved about the issues that are important to you, especially if you're someone that is a consumer of cannabis, or someone that also may want to ensure, because as you mentioned earlier, you know, that if my little brother or someone in my family is consuming, that they aren't going to be harassed or arrested, or again, not have their rights recognized as a consumer. So again, having that information is going to be super duper important.
Yeah, so now that you brought that up, it reminded me, I want to share something on here that a lot of people don't know. And it's even surprising to a lot of my friends. Scent, when a police officer approaches your car and they smell weed, that is not probable cause for them to search or arrest anyone. So that is a number one consumer right that you need to know right now. But not saying that we condone smoking in cars. Right. If you're ever seen with anything, if there's a burning of the cannabis in the car and they see it, then that is a different story. They can search the car. But just knowing that, that is something that a lot of people in the southern parts of Illinois and the northern parts of Illinois aren't aware about, and they're still getting a lot of arrests out there. So we are moving on making events where we can right now make them virtual, but eventually do them in person again, and just educating people. And I'm really excited that we have an event lined up, but not anything secured down yet to the T, but we want to bring legacy to the legal event where we educate and bring the opportunities to those that deserve them, because the legacy market built this industry. We wouldn't be here without the legacy market.
Right. It's always been the established, you know, before the whole legalization part came into play, but that was the market. So absolutely. I think it's really, as you mentioned, really important to be up to date and be informed. And also, as you're doing with these events, reaching back to individuals that have been in the community, that have been involved even before legalization, and certainly giving them a voice and you know, addressing certain needs.
Absolutely. Well,
I wanted to thank you, Margo, for being with me, taking this time. I know you're very busy as executive director for Illinois NORML, but super duper appreciative for what you and your organization are doing. I will be sure to include the email that you shared as well. And also for those that aren't aware, please check out the NORML.org website. You can find all the information, all the different chapters, the different sections about the state laws, events, news. They have a great newsletter in terms of up-to-date information of what's going on within your state. I subscribe. I suggest you all to do the same. And also I want to turn things over back to you, Margo, if there's any other additional news, updates, events that we should be aware of, feel free to include them here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Philip. Well, yeah, so there is a NORML.org website. If you follow Illinois NORML.org, we also have our own newsletter where we share these events that you're aware of them. And they're all virtual right now, so you don't have to move to go anywhere. So that's awesome. I love that. We have an event coming up, and that we already talked about this. This is going to be launched after the event. It's April 6th. We have a cannabis consumer safety event. It'll be on rotation though. So every other month, the cannabis consumer safety forum event will be happening. And in between those months, so every other month in between, we're going to have the cannabis farmers safety event, so that we can all be able to understand what the certificate of analysis, that COA, is telling us and how we can best apply it to our bodies. So make sure to subscribe to our newsletter on IllinoisNORML.org. And then personally, I have some plugs to put in there too. I have a brand that I'm building called margowana.com, where I'm doing the same thing, breaking down the science and making it digestible, because even for someone like me that loves science, it can go over my head sometimes. So we're just making it fun and interactive, like Bill Nye the Science Guy, if you can think of that. And there I have a Terpene Mist, which is really great for our face masks that we have to wear now during COVID times. That you spray on the inside of the mask, and you waft it out a little bit, and it has the aromatherapy of a strain-specific terpene, and that calms your mood and brings you confidence at the same time, while it also has some witch hazel to prevent any skin irritation or mask acne that we all try to avoid. But it's also great to use and complement to your cannabis use. It brings out the cannabis even more. So thank you so much. You can check that out at margowana.com/shop.
We will include all the links in the post, so that way you don't have to worry about searching. For everyone that wants to connect with Illinois NORML, also with Margo's brand, which I think is fantastic. I can't wait to see it. But I will include all those links within the post. Again, Margo, thank you so much for your time. Thank you all to you. Well, thanks to you as the audience for watching and viewing this interview. Please feel free to like, share, and comment within the comments below. Thank you all again for your time. Margo, I'm going to have you hang on with me, but for everyone else, please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all for watching the Budpass Podcast. This is Philip _ coming to you from, again, the podcast powered by SimploPro, and we look forward to connecting with you sometime soon. Take care.
Thank you.